The Democrats are always accusing Donald Trump of weaponizing the Department of Justice, when as a matter of fact, it was Joe Biden who did just that. He went after everyday average American citizens. He went after whistleblowers within the government, and he went after Donald Trump himself. But of course, now that Donald Trump is president, what's he doing with all that power? He's investigating people that actually propagated lies just so they could win elections. And that's exactly what's being discussed with Jim Jordan reminding Jasmine Crockett that this, in fact, is what happened. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video so we can get through the algorithms. Here we go.
Career attorneys are worried. Congress is worried. The world is worried. Every day that passes, the Department of Justice is losing institutional knowledge and exceptional attorneys because of a blind arrogance and vengeance. We owe it to this country to come together to call out weaponization happening today, to call out corruption, government abuse, attacks on innocent people, and the targeting of people with different political views. We owe it to everyone to speak the truth, even if the truth is hard to hear. We owe it to us all to preserve our country's rule of law.
I now recognize the great chairman of the full committee, the gentleman from Ohio, Jim Jordan, for his opening statement.
I don't know about the great part, but thank you, Mr. Chairman. They could never tell us who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th. They could never tell us who leaked the Dobbs opinion, and they could never tell us who put cocaine at the White House. But they sure had time for a lot of other things. October 2nd, 2021, they set up a snitch line to report moms and dads who have the nerve to show up at a school board meeting and advocate for their son or daughter. On September 23rd, 2022, 10 unmarked cars pull up to Mark Houck's home, arrest him in front of his wife and 7 children. And what did he do wrong? What did he do wrong? Praying in front of an abortion clinic. And when some crazy guy comes up and starts yelling obscenities in his kid's face, he makes sure he deals with that guy. He went to court. The jury found him not guilty. On November 18th, 2022, the chairman talked about this. Actually before that, summer of 2022, raid on President Trump's home. President Trump's attorney said, you can come. They were working with him. No, we got to do a raid. We had actually Mr. Stephen D'Antuono, head of the Washington field office, tell us how wrong that was, how they broke all kinds of protocol. 2 months later, Mr. Garland appoints Jack Smith as special prosecutor. And as the chairman pointed out in his opening statement, the lead prosecutor, Jay Bratt, used the promise of a judgeship to try to pressure one of the defendant's lawyers. You're not allowed to do that. We're going to talk to Mr. Bratt at some point in this committee. We'll have him in for a deposition. January 23rd, 2023, FBI Richmond field office issues a memorandum where it says, if you're a pro-life Catholic, you might be a domestic violent extremist. Can't tell us who put cocaine at the White House, but you can call Catholics extremists. Spring of 2023, 2 brave whistleblowers come forward and tell us about the sweetheart deal that David Weiss was trying to do for Hunter Biden. Of course, those guys' reward for coming forward as good, brave whistleblowers was to have their security clearances taken from them and be retaliated against. 6:01 a.m., March 19th, 2024, Brian Malinowski, Little Rock, Arkansas, highest paid official in the Little Rock government, runs the Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport. 6:01, all these folks show up in the morning. First thing they do is put tape on the doorbell cam, and they're coming after Mr. Malinowski, a warrant to search his home because they believed he had sold 6 guns that he wasn't supposed to sell. 6:01, tape on the doorbell cam. 53 seconds later, Brian Malinowski, shot in the head, later dies. They could have handled that. So, I mean, the SWAT team and everything else, just talk to his lawyers. You could have, all kinds of ways you could have handled that to avoid the terrible outcome. We had Brian Malinowski's spouse here last Congress. His lawyer testified. Tragic story because of this Justice Department, the previous Justice Department, the way they handled things. And don't forget, December 12, 2024, when the Inspector General told us about the 26 confidential human sources who were there on January 6, 2021. 17 went in restricted space, which they were not authorized to do. 4 went in the Capitol, which they were not authorized to do. None of them were charged. 2 of the 4 who went in the Capitol were asked to be there by the FBI. We got all kinds of questions about that incident, about those confidential human sources, all kinds of questions we want answered. Now, thank goodness, and the chairman referenced this as well, Thank goodness Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino are now going to be running the Justice Department, where we won't have this kind of ridiculous focus on agencies being turned on the very people they're supposed to serve. We sent 7 subpoenas today. 7 subpoenas that we sent asking for information about all these issues. We want everything you got so the American people have answers. Maybe it's not as bad as I think, but one thing I've learned in my time in Congress with these investigations, every single time, the only thing we get wrong is it's always worse than we thought.
So with the passage of time, you tend to forget all the crazy stuff that happened to American citizens during Joe Biden's time as president. All right, going after normal folks for attending school board meetings because they didn't want boys in girls' locker rooms. All right, going after the Catholics because they were homegrown domestic terrorists. All right, going after whistleblowers because they were out there saying, hey, there's some untoward stuff happening within the Joe Biden administration. And of course, going after Donald Trump himself. Don't forget, we had the RICO case in Georgia. We had the assault case in New York. We had the fraud case in New York. We had the hush money case in New York. And you had the 2 federal cases against Donald Trump for classified documents and January 6th insurrectiony behavior. Okay? Yes, they were going after anyone they didn't like. But the Democrats say, oh, it's just Donald Trump out there weaponizing the Department of Justice. All right? So there's a clear double standard. If you're a normal, average, everyday American who actually cares about politics, just not the leftist politics, you are under siege. If you're somebody within the government who's going to point out things that are happening that are nefarious, you are under siege. And of course, if you're Donald Trump, who deigns to not crawl into a corner and run for president again, you are now under siege. Now, what I do find highly entertaining is that Donald Trump is actually out there getting rid of the security clearances of all these people that participated in these hoaxes, right? If you were out there spreading the Russian collusion garbage, guess what? You're gone. And if you're one of these people that push the Hunter Biden laptop as being Russian propaganda, then guess what? Your clearance is gone as well. And the reason why that's important is because a lot of these people actually make their living off of their security clearance after they leave government. They'd appear on CNN and MSNBC just to give their 2 cents and be paid for it because they had that security clearance. And now guess what? They can't do that anymore. And not to mention you have all the holdovers in the Department of Justice and the FBI and the CIA that are also being rooted out and let go. And you know what? I applaud that effort as well, because we can't have individuals in these investigatory positions who are willing to go after American citizens when they've done absolutely nothing wrong, just to score political points with the big boss man, all right? And that's not what's happening under Donald Trump, but it was what's happening under Joe Biden. But Jasmine Crockett, oh, Donald Trump was the real threat, right? Wake up, Jasmine. It was your side doing all of the weaponization. Donald Trump is simply reacting to all the corruption inside of these agencies. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description, where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.